then going.
What do I do? God, that's we're already starting with the most complicated question. Greatest moments I would say was me and 2 other members. We were in a photo shoot with Bill Hader. I just did. Okay, continue. I'm ready.
Oh.
No, I know. Okay, God.
What about
Big, I guess you could say, taking over New York City for a couple of years as like the big thing. Like we made a big impact when we were there.
Welcome to the Brown Couch. This is episode 16, and I'm your host Smith.
And I'm Dell. And today we have an extra special guest. I'm wearing her merch right now. It was very expensive. The amazing, talented, creative Krystal something.
Thank you so much.
Oh my
Thank
goodness. It is an honor to have you here today.
Thank you so much.
He's been talking about you for a minute. He's like, I can't wait to have her on.
I live and breathe.
That's so sweet, Zone.
Oh, I know. I'm a flower.
He was like, we need to get our game up before we invite like good guests.
Oh yeah, I was like, we get it together, but
Only took us 15 episodes, but we're here.
actually it's 16 now.
I love that.
Yeah, we're in the top 1% almost. Because most people don't make it through like 20 episodes. Like most people don't make it through 10 episodes, but then 20 is like top 1%.
Oh.
So if you go past 20 episodes, you're in the top 1%.
Oh, good. Congrats.
That's not
You're on your way.
Yeah.
And also the thing is, like most podcasts don't see results for almost like 50 or 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long journey, you know what I'm saying?
Well, thanks for inviting me on your journey.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh my God, where do we begin? Let's start from the beginning. I kind of want to like learn about what got you to where you are. How did it all start?
Actually, what do you do? Let's start with that and then go.
What do I do? God, that's we're already starting with the most complicated question. Like, what's my job?
Yep.
Okay, what do I do? What I do is I'm an artist. There we go. A performing artist. I've been doing either theater, musical theater, music, dance, drag, nightlife for the bulk of my life. So I'm an entertainer / artist.
Okay.
Like, at what age did you start like getting into all that?
2nd grade is the earliest I can remember. So what's that? 8?
Just like you performed on stage and you were like, this is what I want to do.
In 2nd grade, I started piano lessons, and I did my first musical, which was community theater, and it was Scrooge, which is like a Christmas Carol, but the musical version.
Oh,
Okay.
that evil.
And dance classes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you are a professional dancer.
Well, I guess technically, yeah.
Wow. And you're originally not from Ohio, right?
Well, I was born in San Antonio, Texas. Go, Texas. Go No, okay. But I grew up in mostly Circleville, Ohio, but also a little bit in Illinois. My dad was in the Air Force.
Okay.
I was really close to being born in Okinawa, Japan. Like, if they had just stayed there a little bit longer, I could have said I was born in Japan.
Oh my God.
I know.
It's fine. We all make mistakes.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. I forgot where I was going with that.
So how did you like start professionally? So I don't know, like in the beginning you were like doing it as a kid, but when did you like start professionally performing?
Like your booked gig.
Or like even like, let's say like, you know, when you get a job you're interning. So like when you were all grown up, like what was that moment? You're like, I'm gonna go in.
Okay. Got it. Well, see, professionally speaking, when I was in college, I changed my degree from theater to dance. Towards the end of my last year there, some of my friends and I were creating dances together, and I was always the choreographer. And we started this relationship and started like joking about starting a dance company. And then that became more and more of a reality. So as soon as I was done with school, we started putting our name out there and finding places that wanted shows. So I guess like one of the first would be, it used to be called High Five. It was a bar downtown on High Street. And we just did like an event where I DJ'd and we did little dance numbers. It was like a club event. Oh. So we started doing things like that. Those are the first times I can remember like, oh, we're doing this professionally. Mm-hmm. And then after we built our name, we started doing more like legit stuff like Columbus Dance Theater. We got a couple grants from the Greater Columbus Arts Council. Kind of took off from there. I don't know if that answered your question.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, good.
So now you're like, I feel like now you're like a big deal in Columbus, especially in the drag community, right?
Yes, I am.
You're the biggest deal.
There, I'll own it. I think it's just because I've done a lot and people know that the art is important to me and I'm always like trying to do new things.
Right. And all this starts from like long time ago. So how many years ago did you say like you did that first performance?
Around 20.
20.
I just round it up and say 20.
Okay. Did you want to share your age on here? Like your current age?
Is that a requirement?
Okay, I'm just trying.
No, it's okay. I'm proud 40-year-old person.
Okay, so now you've been doing it for like 20 years, you know. So I feel like in the beginning you're uncertain, like where's this gonna go? Should I give up? And all that. I'm sure like all that stuff has happened to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time to like get to where you are now.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you've actually done it, and it just shows like over time you can actually achieve your dreams. It just takes a while, but
you owned it, honey.
I am definitely someone who believes in things happening for a reason. I'm definitely somebody who believes in trusting your gut. And because I started theater so young, I feel like I trained myself to live that lifestyle of looking for the next audition and accepting when things don't work. Mm-hmm. To be a successful artist, you have to know you're going to fail sometimes.
Right.
And I finally gotten to the point where I'm not scared of that. I'll try any idea because at least I know I've tried it. I can check it off my list and learn from it.
Right, and you always learn from failures. Like,
oh yeah.
And you're like a huge risk taker. Like you're just like, let's try this and whatever.
With art, yeah. Mm-hmm. With my personal life, not so much, but I'm working on that. But with art, of course. Right. Somebody comes to me with an idea and they're like, well, I don't know about this. And then they say it and I'm like, that's amazing. Don't doubt it. Just go with it.
So it sounds like you kind of like started yourself up with the help of other people that like wanted the same dream.
Yeah.
Did you have any like people that like you looked up to or that like influenced you, or did you have like some sort of guidance? Kind of like how drag queens have drag moms.
I didn't.
You just went for it.
I did not. That's the end of my statement.
Period.
Because 20 years ago, that's like 20 years ago. That's a long time ago. Like,
yeah, I'm old. I know.
No, I'm not saying that. Like,
I'm kidding.
The drag community like wasn't as prevalent back then. It was probably much harder.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when we started it as a dance group, a performance ensemble, nightlife weirdos, whatever you wanted to call us, we didn't really set out to do drag. Okay. My friend, whose drag name was Charmin Ultra, which I still think is the best drag name to date, we started just doing makeup and putting on wigs and stuff just to do that because I was really into club kid culture, Lee Bowery. So if we're talking inspirations, artistically, Lee Bowery was always my biggest. But we started doing it, and then we were doing it at nightclubs, and we saw drag queens, so it just kind of felt like, oh, we're doing drag now. That's just kind of how we fell into it, which was interesting. And then also, because I'm trying to do a good job of remembering not to forget anything. As far as like local people to look up to, no. And I think that's one of the reasons why I did do it, because I saw in myself that I was going to be that person. Instead of having somebody to look up to, I was like, well, I think that's me. It's like, I have to be the person to create this. And I just lucked into having other people who were like, we love what you do. We want to do it with you. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
The more the merrier.
There's an organic connection as far as like, I'm a good leader and they have ideas and they want to just do it together.
Yeah. And it helps, like, you were helping them push. You're like, you can actually do it. Like, make it happen. Has there ever been, like, pushback from the community? From, like, because the gay culture wasn't as prevalent back then. So, in the early stages, has there ever been, like, pushback? Like, why is this in our community? Why are we doing this? Or was it always like you were in a comfortable spot?
I would say that the kind of art that I do is always a little out there. So I've always had reactions of like, that's weird, or I don't like that. That's not for me. You're a weirdo. But I feel like I managed to steer clear of any kind of like real dramatic political pushback. I've always told my friends, I don't know how that's happened in my career. I've never been involved in any politically driven situations where someone's like, we don't want you here. We don't want you faggot. We don't want your kind. But also, I've managed to live in my own world, and the kind of art that I do with my friends it's very weird and abstract and avant-garde. So I feel like it kind of is its own category.
Like makeup wise, when you do drag, how did you like come up with that kind of like signature look? Is it just like you just did a face and
a lot of mistakes? A lot of mistakes that I stuck with. Like, for instance, I hate doing my lips. I hate lipstick. And so when I first started, I wouldn't really do traditional lipstick. But then when I started to try to like line my lips, it was messier, so it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then there was like a crooked part, and I just said, I need to stop. So it kind of stopped with that crooked kind of smirk that I draw. That's why they're always so big too, because when I start, it's never going to be that. It's going to keep growing until it's... Yeah, so most of the makeup things, like I said, my friends and I were just experimenting. And I looked at club kid culture, and their makeup was just... Their face was like a canvas. It wasn't like, here's the eye shape. It was just like, you draw whatever you want. Yeah. So that's what we did. And then we slowly learned to paint our faces like faces. It's kind of like a reverse order.
Oh, that's interesting.
But most of the things that I've stuck with usually were just like trial and error. And I wore something out one, like I had a Rorschach, and someone's like, oh, that's cool. And then I'll remember that and try to do it again.
A Rorschach?
Rorschach, like an ink blot. That's one of my favorite makeups I've ever done. You know, like you look at it and you say, what do you see?
Oh, yeah.
Like
therapy.
Yeah, like a therapy ink drawing, and I like to draw them on my face, like really symmetrical.
Okay, yeah, because you have like a lot of like interesting shapes and like stuff that goes like into your makeup. But I think that, I don't know, obviously like you stand out, you know.
Thank you.
Compared to the other regular drag queens out there.
I call them the normals.
The averages. But okay. So you started your own zhush and you started getting into the clubs. What was like your biggest project? Like was there something bigger? Because we all know you from the West family. But was there something ever bigger than that you had to kind of like leave, or was that your shining moment? If that makes sense.
I'm not sure if that makes sense to me. Are you saying, was there ever something that I had to, like a dream that I couldn't chase that was bigger than that?
Or
like
you were a part of.
Like the biggest thing I've been a part of.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, Backspace was the name of my dance company. So Backspace essentially was the biggest thing, because as Backspace, we were booked for a lot of different events in New York City when we lived there. Like one time we opened for somebody at Roseland Ballroom, and we got gigs with people like Amanda Lepore and Caswell, who are like huge in New York City nightlife. So as far as like big, I guess you could say, taking over New York City for a couple of years as like the big thing. Like we made a big impact when we were there. Nightlife was having a resurgence, and we happened to go there at the perfect time. And what we were doing was kind of what other people were doing. So we quickly just were able to like work with a lot of people just as opening acts or things like that. But it was always like, guys, look at this fucking room. Like we're in this huge ass concert venue in New York City.
Everyone's screaming.
I know, even though we're just doing like a 5-minute weird ass dance number to Peaches or something, and they're just going crazy, and we just live off of that moment for weeks.
Yeah, that's wild.
I love when
We got to do a lot of fun. One of my greatest moments, I would say, was me and 2 other members. We were in a photo shoot with Bill Hader in Time Out, I think was the magazine, but we did a photo shoot. You know who he is from SNL, like the comedic actor. He's famous.
He's the scrawny, older looking guy. I guess. No.
They're all kind of like that. But anyway, basically as Backspace, I got to work with a lot of awesome people and go to a lot of cool spaces.
Yay! I'm so glad that somebody understood what I was trying to ask.
I try. I'm working on it.
Whew.
So did you end up selling that company?
Well, around like my last year there in New York, so I guess I left this part out, but I started the company here in Columbus, and a handful of us all moved together to New York, which is like something that never happens. But I went through a lot of personal changes in New York. I went through a breakup, like somebody that I was with for like 8.5 years. Oh, person I lost my virginity to. Slut. You know, like me? I'm not a slut.
You're having sex.
Oh, I see. Sorry. That kind of threw off my mind a little bit, because then I had to switch to my personal life, and I got depressed. I had to change I lost like 50 pounds. Like I looked different. I became different. It was the first time in my life I was like single as an adult, ready to fuck and like be like that, because I had never experienced that. No. So I kind of took a big step back from Backspace. And then I started to do more as Krystal, just as Krystal. That took a lot of time, and it took time away from Backspace. So those people started doing their own side projects and having their own personal things. So I think it kind of came apart mostly because of me, but I think it was just like the natural thing that happened. And then I decided one day, I was like, I need to move back to Ohio. It was just like an epiphany. Like, I can't afford this anymore. I need a change. And I moved back to Ohio, and that was when it was like kind of like shutting the door. Like, I don't feel like I can continue to do that without you guys, because you're still in New York.
Krystal breaking up the band.
How dare you? I'm bringing the band back together. We'll talk about that later.
Ooh.
She created, like, in a way, she created a whole new culture out here. Like, if she hadn't done that in New York, then this wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't be performing, or like, this stuff wouldn't be happening.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
All the doors you've opened for me, Krystal.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I appreciate what you're saying. I know what you mean.
I'm saying like for a lot
you're
of
right.
folks, you know what I'm saying? Like, you open a lot of doors for a lot of folks.
It feels like now I'm at a place in my life where I'm being very reflective, and like you're saying, it feels like I know it was meant to be, because I had work to do here that was different. Like, I was doing all that stuff there, and you're right, like bringing it here was something that I didn't intend on doing, but alternative drag and all kinds of different show concepts have certainly opened up in the last 8 years since I've been here. Yeah. I don't think that's just because of me, but I do feel like having people working with Nina and Virginia specifically, and having a lot of people see me and my choreography, I feel like it did make a lot of positive. Let other people see that they could be weird and different and still successful.
Right. Inspire a lot of people. How did you come up with your name, Krystal?
It's not a good story.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
It's just a terrible story, and I know I'm going to be asked this. People ask me all the time. Here we go. So one night, I was very high at my apartment, Alexandria Colony, which those apartments are still there in the short North Victorian Village area. I was outside. I had started my drag name as Barbecue Chicken, which was terrible and a stupid idea, and I hate admitting it.
That is a funny name, though. I like it.
Well, okay, it makes you giggle, but that's about it.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, that means I have to go by Barbie, and I don't really want to go by Barbie, and also Chicken. Anyway, so I was just literally freeform brainstorming, and I said Krystal. I said I like the name Krystal because in a way it has stereotypical white trash kind of pull to it in my mind, like trailer, like Krystal kind of like. I know I'm probably not supposed to say that, but I just did anyway.
No, we like
but I'm just saying at that time, that's what I thought. I was like, Krystal, it just seems like a normal lady who's working at the DMV or whatever. And then I said it out loud to my friend. It's like, I want to be Krystal something, something like that. And then I went, oh, that's it. That's it. I'm Krystal something something.
The gears were turning.
And I was convinced that it was the most genius thing in the world. I still think it was smart and it's a good branding thing, but you know, I've spent many years having people be like, okay, no, but really, what's your name? or they go, what did she say? I didn't get the rest. Like it's happened in every single way you can imagine.
Something.
And then I have like my friends who, when they're trying to be nice, they'll call me Krystal everything. And then like my friends who joke, they'll say Krystal nothing.
Oh, okay.
So it's fun.
Where's the lie?
Wow.
Just kidding.
Wow.
So after your exit from New York, how did you land the gig with the West family?
You know, it's interesting because I was dating somebody at the time who had done a little bit of drag and then won a talent competition at Access and then got to be in Virginia's show Sinner. Virginia had kind of known a little bit about me through Nina, because Nina had known me a little bit before I moved to New York. That was a lot. So when my ex at the time started doing this show with Virginia and she found out what I did, she actually hired me to do the makeup for the dancers. So like the first show, my boyfriend at the time was in the show and I did the makeup for the dancers. And then very quickly after that, Nina and Virginia started putting me in the shows after they saw me actually perform again. Like I did a random cabaret at Axis.
Okay.
And then once it started, I was in every show.
So you pulled the Raja America's Next Top Model.
What's that mean?
Like,
oh, I see what you mean.
You did a little strut. You said her guards, and then you just started getting the gigs.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Rags to riches, right?
I thought you were gonna say that you were dating somebody in the cast, because that seems to be like a.
I don't do that. I mean, my experience dating this person and then continuing to do drag together was terrible. So I would never do that again.
Because, like, what? You guys was there too much stuff?
Well, he's just a terrible, shitty person, so...
Oh my goodness, I didn't mean to bring him up then.
Oh, no, it's fine. This is a podcast. We talk about everything. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. So you started doing the choreography for them. So like, how did that happen? Because if you got hired on as just like a performer, were you just like, oh, I can do like these dances for you?
I think Nina already knew that
Okay.
The stuff that I was doing in New York. I think a lot of the stuff, even while I was in New York, was still being seen by some people in Columbus because I Facebook friends and stuff.
Oh.
So she was aware. And then she asked me to choreograph one number in my first Heels of Horror, which was Nina's Halloween show. And then I'm very good at choreographing and teaching, so that went very well. And then I think they saw that I was more efficient and creative with that process. So they asked me to do 2 numbers and then 3 numbers. And then Virginia was the one to really start using me for like an entire show or something.
So you took Emily's gig.
Emily?
Snatched that from her.
Emily Karn?
Karn.
Well, I was there before her.
Oh, I was joking. I forgot what it was.
I took, what was his name? Mark. I took Mark's job.
That's right, because I asked you if you were that person in the video, and you were like, no.
No, I don't remember that. Well, he was a white bald person too.
So I was like, huh, is that you? Did
Yeah.
you get your knees done?
They did have a couple other choreographers that they were using for a long time, and then I started, and then they stopped using them. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I mean,
It happens. It happens. It's not. I mean,
you choose what works the best, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they could have worked with whoever they want.
By the way, you brought up Heels of Horror. Do you remember? I think it was after Glitch. Do you remember? So we were, you know, the casting call or whatever, curtain call, and she was asking if everybody enjoyed the show, and some random twink in the front row was like, "Heels of Horror could never." I was like, oh.
I just started cracking up.
And then that show hasn't even been a thing.
And I saw him after he was with some people that I know, and he's like, "I was the one who said that," and I was like, "Good for you."
So is that like another drag person?
Heels of Horror?
Yeah.
It was a show.
Oh, okay.
Heels of Horror was, I think it's safe to say, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, drag show of the year when Nina was here. Halloween show every year.
Okay.
Like everybody knew about it. Like that's the one that everybody knows about. So when he said that, I was like, yeah. I can do it too, you know.
Yeah. And you have done it.
Thank you.
Multiple production shows created by yourself and you. With, I think the first one was Krystal Explains It All, or Double Take. There were so many.
My first production show here in Columbus was Double Take.
Okay, yeah, Double Take. Then it was Krystal Explains It All, right?
Then it was Level Up.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Those first 3 kind of all were the same show 3 different times anyway.
Definitely not Level Up.
Okay, not the same show, but
Level Up was.
As we did more shows, they got definitely more developed and more of like a focused idea. The first 3 were like, we're going to do everything. We're going to try all the ideas, and we're going to just do it all the different music and random order, and who cares?
Yeah.
There's fun in that too.
It was still like entertaining when you came out on that box barefoot.
Oh my God, barefoot. I hated that. But I couldn't wear my shoes.
She let the piggies out.
I couldn't step up on the box with my giant platforms. And it was like a last minute decision. I was like, okay, so I'm going to open my big drag show in bare feet? And I said, that does sound like something you do. So I didn't.
Speaking of white trash.
Ah, exactly. How dare you? You know, I hate you because that's exactly how I felt.
No.
I don't even like to watch the video of it because I stare at my feet.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was like you were kind of showing vulnerability.
Exactly. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted people to think.
Okay.
Inside, I was thinking, I feel stupid.
I don't get it. I don't know why people are paranoid about with their feet.
It was just weird, like in a drag show.
I
like
think people in general are just paranoid about it.
Oh.
They're like too subconscious about it, not paranoid.
I love them.
I think there is a stigma with feet.
Yeah.
Well, either you hate them or you want to like lick them and have sex with them.
I don't have any feelings toward them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like
put one on each
Then-
cheek and do this.
I'm like their feet. They're
You must have nice feet then.
He
I have
does.
regular feet. I mean,
Because if you have, well, also as a dancer, when you are, I think, are also really hyper, ultra sensitive about your feet as well, because they look beat up and janky and.
Mm-hmm. Brooklyn Heights.
Okay.
Okay, so can I ask you, like, what, out of the production shows that you've done, what are your top 3? Out of the 4. No, I was kidding.
Out of the ones that I've done here in Columbus, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Top 3. Mm-hmm. In order?
It doesn't matter. Make it a little less.
I'm gonna go Glitch 1, Back to School, and Whodunit.
Back to School.
You know what's crazy? I've been to all of these.
Yeah.
I've been to all of these.
I love that.
Like whenever he performs, I come support him.
Well, did you have fun?
Yeah, especially
good.
The Glitch ones. They're really good.
That's my baby. Like that's
straight
Glitch ones are great.
Oh.
Well, I like creating art that everyone that's accessible to all kinds of people, especially in the drag world. Like getting people to not think, oh, I'm going to a drag show. I know what I'm expecting, but like, no, you're going to see a Krystal show, or you're going to see, us. It's different.
So. It definitely is. Your shows usually have like a solid beginning, middle, and an end. Like,
I try.
It's like watching, I don't know, a movie. Whereas like a lot of drag shows is just like, okay, here's this entertainer, here's that entertainer, group number. Okay, here's this entertainer, that entertainer, another group number, the end. And it's like,
it's a format that exists for a reason, but I think a lot of people get comfortable in the format. Mm-hmm. I'm just naturally the kind of person that when they start the next show, I'm not like, let's fill in the guideline of here's where these numbers go. It's like start from scratch. Mm-hmm. Like when we did Whodunit, it was completely different than Glitch. Completely different. So I had to just retrain my brain like, okay, now you have to watch movies like Clue and murder mystery movies and think about how to write a script and characters.
I still have it. The script.
Oh my god.
It's not going anywhere.
It's like my grandkids are gonna see.
Yeah. This was Whodunit.
But you're right. I feel like there is kind of an accepted pacing for a typical drag show. And that's what I call cabaret pacing.
I don't know if I'm a fan, but
it works for like a nightclub because that you can check in and check out. Mm-hmm. But when you're having to like sit down and you're here, you have to be a little bit more aware of people's attention span.
Right, and that's like an amazing thing that you're like able to captivate a room full of drunk people.
It's
like
hard.
They keep coming back, like it's just like, oh.
Well, that would probably be because of people like you who are in the show, so give yourself some credit. Jeez.
Oh my god. Was I in that one?
Most of my shows I'm like in like 10% of it. Except for Whodunit, which I was out there the whole time.
Yeah.
Because you're managing the whole thing, right? You're like making sure everything goes right.
Yeah.
So you're not performing as much.
Yeah, it's always funny. You can probably agree or remember me saying this, but there's always times in the process where we get close to the end and then I get more comfortable with what everyone else is doing. And then I say, all right, now I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. Yes. It's always the last part. Like, now that you guys are comfortable, then I say, where do I put myself in? So I can do a solo here, and then usually those change the most.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always interesting because usually when you throw out the idea of the shows, it's kind of like only you know what they look like in your head.
I know.
So when you're like, okay, like, so this is what you're going to be doing, and maybe to this song, and then we're all like, going to do this and look like a big net. And I'm like, okay. Where do I stand?
See, that's why I'm lucky. I have people who know me more and can trust that in the end it will make sense. But sometimes I have a hard time explaining it before we get there. And sometimes I feel like I'm learning that also, if I were to explain it right off the bat, that we might not get the best end product. Because you're doing things naturally. You're not thinking, oh, this needs to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. You heard act like you're in a net. you know. And then later I'll say what that's for.
I will say I did not understand the car wash until the YouTube video uploaded the show in the middle of the run. And I was like, oh, okay.
I know.
After months.
It was far-fetched.
I was like, because it just wasn't, I was thinking car wash was like the name of the song. Or something. You know what I mean?
Do the car wash, yeah.
Right. And then you're just like, okay, you two like do this and this. And then
I
you go
know.
spin. And then I was like, oh, like when I saw it, it all came together. I'm like, we're washing cars. Well, we're washing people, but
I am certainly working on how I explain things a little bit better, but
well, it's also hard to like when you have the vision, you know, it's hard for other people to see it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense like when it comes together.
right.
I also thought, you know, okay, this will probably work if I cut some foam boards and I got some fabric and some wigs and tape them down and go like this. I'm sure it'll feel, and you don't really know until usually a couple days before.
Yeah, and the amount of work that you put into the shows is like, I don't know how you do it. But I mean, making the props, making the playlist, making sure everybody's on the same page. The stuff that you order, like for the shows, like it's just there's a reason that people just enjoy you.
Thank you.
It's crazy.
Thank you.
Not in a bad way.
Oh, for sure. I wanted to ask this earlier when you were talking about the intro. But has there ever been a journey where you were like, this is not going well for me? Should I consider like getting a job? Should I like, you know, or like should I quit this and maybe do it again like later in life?
Yes and no. Here very recently, actually, I've had that happen when I left District West. And like, what do I do now? But I think I can honestly say I've been lucky enough to never have to completely get rid of my dreams as an artist because I have had support from my parents, like when I've needed it. So like I'm very lucky in that way, where I've never had to face I can't do this. Now in New York, when I told you I went through like a depression and like lost weight and stuff, also it was like money and work. I started working as a dog walker for the first time, which was the best job I ever had. But like that was interesting because I had to adjust a little bit because I had been supported fully, but I've never had to completely face that, which I recognize that I'm lucky, and a lot of people don't have that
Privilege.
I am.
So you've always been able to like make money off and like support yourself. Like you said you have your parents like as backup, but I'm saying like you've been most of the part you've been able to. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm making money from it in New York at the height, either from Backspace or me as Krystal or DJing. I mean, it would be like 4 nights a week.
awesome.
And that's good money.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't include tips or anything.
Yeah.
Like right now, like I'm asking this question because right now I'm in that space where I'm like, I'm not booking as many clients as I would like, as I need to sustain myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have my parents as backup, but I'm like, maybe I should go get a part-time job so I can like pay all my bills.
Well, I do have, I just started, okay, so I guess I do have some more insight into that because when I left the bar and I was like, okay, bitch, you cannot just float around and making art. You need to get a job. So I was looking at part-time jobs. I said, what am I good at? What's my experience while being a drag queen, being a dog walker? And then I also have my esthetician license, which that's a whole other side story that I got when I moved back from New York. And then I just started looking through Indeed and something popped up and it was like karaoke trivia host. And I was like, well, that's kind of like similar to what I already do. So I looked into it. And I actually just started with them like a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
So I was able to find a part-time job that's still in the same realm.
Yeah.
So I'm still interacting with people, still working with audio, video equipment, and Yeah, I guess I lucked out that way, but
Not like that. So maybe I should look for jobs that are something similar with what I'm doing or trying to do.
yeah, and also, I mean, I don't know how you think in your head, but because I know like my purpose to be an artist, like it doesn't bother me to think that I would need to be a DoorDash driver or a Uber Eats or whatever, anything like that, like a service. Like I applied for Rover, which is like a dog walking app.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, which
like,
is
like
you can offer dog walking, dog sitting, overnight stays, and you run the business yourself like DoorDash.
oh.
I know. So I don't know. I fully believe in 2024 having those side hustles are smart, especially with delivery and dog services and stuff like that, because you create your own schedule around it, so you can still. But it is hard. It's tricky.
Flexibility. We love that. Like with your time management.
Yeah.
When you were talking about like your parents being his backup, about question about your parents. When I came to your, I think it was the last glitch. Was it like glitch 2? It was the last glitch that you guys had, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
switch too.
I saw your mom. She was there to support you.
Mm-hmm.
I was really happy about that. Like that was really nice to see. It's like have your parents always been like very supportive of you and like what you're doing? Or has there been
Yes.
backlash?
Very. Unfortunately, I don't have a juicy, dramatic story about my family. I've been very lucky and blessed. They knew that I was different, like early on, and I think one of the lucky things about my childhood was I got to kind of experience it for myself and learn things for myself, and they let me be weird and different and try all the things and never judge me, and have always been supportive, like emotionally, financially, all of that. Very lucky. Like my mom is very present, like physically. My dad is supportive, but he doesn't like come to all the shows. He's very like Midwestern dad, just kind of like doesn't talk much, but he's supportive,
Circleville.
quietly supportive. It's from Circleville, yeah.
Actually, he mentioned your mom in a few podcasts ago. My friends like loved your mom. I didn't even know that they knew that she was your mom.
No, I think she said it in the show. She was like, "Oh, my mom's here to support me" or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I
Mom's
didn't
in the
know.
audience.
Okay, yeah. And her beautiful fiance.
Wait, my mom's beautiful fiance? No, I'm kidding. My beautiful. Wait,
Oh,
before
yeah, that's right, yeah.
before I forget, I was just thinking one thing that's cool that's happened with my mom and coming so often. There are people who will like go up and talk to her on their own without having to like be with me. Like they have their own relationship with her. Like, oh, Kathy's here,
Yes.
which she loves, and I know that it means a lot to her because I get a lot of that from her, like that just sense of being around people and being present, being alive, and I think she thrives in that too and gets to do that when she comes to my shows. She gets to be, a star too.
I love seeing her.
Me too.
So you're engaged right now?
Oh my god, I'm engaged right now.
Didn't that happen on vacation?
Do you want to hear all about it?
Yes.
Okay, so my favorite show of all time is Friends. I'm not embarrassed to admit it. And we went to New York, which is not this past August, but the one before. We went to the Friends Experience, which is this amazing. Do you guys like Friends?
Mm-hmm, I love it.
You do? Okay. Have you heard about the Friends Experience?
No, I've not heard about that. What'd you say?
Didn't you like watch that to learn English or something?
No.
That was the other.
I learned my
The other foreigner. Sorry.
I learned my English through hip hop.
That's even better.
Oh, that explains the swag.
Okay, swag. We went to the Friends Experience is like, I don't know, I guess you could call it a museum, but they recreate the rooms, like the sets of Friends, and you walk through it, and it looks exactly like it.
Oh wait, yeah, I think I've seen it on TikTok.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
cool. You get to see like actual things that they used on the show, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I knew that I wanted to propose to Shane while we were on vacation, and then I figured out that I wanted to do it while we were in the Friends Experience, and I wanted to do it in Monica's apartment in the spot where Chandler proposes to Monica and Monica proposes to Chandler. So I did. We were going through the tour, and I had the ring, and I was like so nervous because you're with like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And we got to the room, and then we went into like the area where I was going to do it, and there was just people all around like waiting to go through, and I was like, fuck, I have to do this. So I did it real quick, and I just went down on my knee and I said, this is for serious, this isn't a joke, I just want you to know I love you so much, and I want, like, I made the speech really quick, and I made it a point to say this isn't a joke because I didn't know what he would think. And you know, everyone stopped, and I didn't want that. I didn't want everyone staring at us.
That's what
Absolutely.
happened.
I know.
That's definitely what happened. Obviously, plenty of videos.
But like, he was like, yes, and then you know they clapped, and then we were just like, continue on with the tour. Like we walked over to where you look out at Ugly Naked Guy's apartment, and he was like, this is weird now. And I was like, I know, I'm sorry. And they took our picture with the ring. It was a good memory. I knew that when I decided that like I was like finally ready to be married.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta have some kind of memory, because I'm also the kind of person that would just be like, hey, you want to get married tomorrow? Like that's also in me.
Yeah.
But now we have.
Martha Stewart's on TV.
Huh?
I said as Martha Stewart's on the television.
Yeah, or Supermarket Sweep, because we watch Supermarket Sweep. Like, I'd just be like, hey, we should get married. But yeah, so I'm glad I did it that way. And we decided we're not going to do a big wedding. I've always wanted to have a fancy dinner party, like on movies where they're at the long table. Like basically when they do the rehearsal dinner, but that's what I want to be the wedding. Oh. So we rented out Cooper's Hawk. They have a room at Cooper's Hawk in Easton, which is a nice winery and restaurant that he used to work at. So we're just going to do a small dinner party.
When is it?
August or October.
You might need a photographer or a videographer.
Hell yeah! This is networking, and I love networking. No, yeah.
Media.
Okay.
Media. Smash that subscribe button.
I love it.
Shit, how long have you guys been dating?
I guess it's been almost 4 years.
Nice. And what was it that made you say, like, I think it's time to get married now?
Well, I got pregnant.
Oh, again.
We had already kind of talked about it in a very casual way, like I said, just kind of like, but I'm more of the romantic than he is. So I'm the one who's more likely to be like, I just want you to know, I just love you so much, and I want you to be with me for the rest of your life. And he's more like, okay. But I'm a serial monogamist. Is that what they call it? Like you're always with one person. Yeah. And I've been in several long-term relationships, so I know what that's like. I didn't have any questions. And once I realized that he was like the first time I could say, this person makes me better. You know, I always hear people say that and they never have that experience. And then I had that experience. I was like, I'm willing to admit that I'm not perfect, but you make me better. I was like, well, got to put a ring on that. So
Blah. He does seem kind of shy, which is strange because he used to be out and about too.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's shy, I think, socially.
Oh, okay.
He was in the drag scene. But I think I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like he just had enough of it here in Columbus, like how it is here. I still think he has lots of interest in drag and makeup and stuff, but sometimes the scene isn't very friendly, so you kind of come in and out of it. But yeah, he's not one of those drag queen husbands who's at every gig, thank God. He barely comes to the shows, which is fine with me. Like, we have the kind of relationship where I'll go home from a Tabitha's Tequila Tuesday and be high and just all over the place and wanted to talk about the night, and he's like, oh, you're home? Okay, I'm going to go to bed now. And I'm like, I love you, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And that's fine.
Yeah. We need to find this guy a partner. Someone to get married to. We
I
need to
do
find
not
him a
need-
partner.
I would
Somebody to
love.
get
I
married
wish
to.
I could.
He's almost 40. I'm kidding.
I would marry you if I could, but I'm already taken.
I would marry you.
Oh, that's so
I would
cool.
marry you.
Nah.
I was gonna suggest a throuple, but not
I
now.
guess we'll have to find a different corner to our triangle.
Okay. I'll get on Grindr.
Okay, so how do I ask this?
What?
Let's get to the meat. The carne. That's meat in Spanish. Let's talk about your exit. So, when did you feel that you were ready to move on from District West? And, like, was there anything that led up to that? Like,
About a year ago, maybe a little bit more or so, I started to just have some feelings of like, I wanted to do something else, and I wasn't sure what that meant for me. And I realized that the something else was like, I wanted to be more involved. I wanted to help more. I use my skills. Like, I feel like when I put on these shows, I get such great feedback. And I have people saying, your shows are my favorite. Or I have people saying, like, I only want to be in your shows. Or these are just things people say to me. And I'm just like, well, that's nice. But also I don't really know what to say back. But I said, okay, well, what if I can find a way to, help out or spread more of my ideas around? And, I was always considered the co-show director. I've been called that. And I wasn't really sure what that meant. So I was like, I'm going to find out. So, I talked to management and said I wanted to get more involved, and they agreed. And I tried to help, and like I feel like maybe
Like, I don't want to make them sound bad, right?
No, it's not that. It's like I've processed a lot of this information. So in the end, I realized that my goals just weren't the same. And I felt like the more involved I got, the more fights I got into, the more arguments. Because but that's happening, when you get involved with people who are planning more, obviously, you're going to see more and you're going to have more conflict. But the way that I do things was just a little bit different. And as you can probably, and you actually already mentioned it, but like when I do shows, just like communicating to people and making sure that everybody's on the same page is really important to me. And I feel like the bar had been lacking that, like a sense of unity. Like, what's our purpose? Like, what kind of art are we creating? What's the purpose of this? And I was starting to have these bigger thoughts, and I didn't really know what to do with them. And that's where I was. I was at District West. Like, I did my art there, so I wanted to try that. Over the course of months of being involved with planning projects and working on projects, there were a lot of communication failures. There were a lot of times where I felt like I didn't feel like I was being understood. And in the moment, I wasn't able to understand why. Now I'm at a place where I do know why. And that's because what I was experiencing was a complete shift in myself, and I was trying to push it on them. So I was going through all these, I need to do something else. I want to do something else. I want to help. I want to spread what I'm good at. I have all these skills. I'm 40 years old now. I'm having a midlife crisis. What do I do with it? That's what I felt like.
Jeez.
And there's just, when you have drag and you have queer people and you have a place like that, there's a lot of drama. Everybody has drama. And I'm not a drama person. I don't like it. That goes back to like dating people you work with and shit like that. You know what I mean? Personal things mix with business and it gets messy. Is that clear enough?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to argue. I hate the tension. And I just kept feeling like I was being annoying, like always pointing out what's wrong or we should fix this. And I didn't want to be that annoying person. And it sort of got to be the place where I felt like I was annoying. And so I kind of stepped back. More time passed and I kind of got more confidence to try it again. And I did get more involved when the bar did a remodel. If you remember District West, they did a big remodel. And that's when they kind of brought me on in a more official way to be like a co-show director officially. Official. So I started going to all the meetings and stuff and helping out and having meetings with show hosts and trying to implement things. I felt that I was not being valued.
Okay. Now, it was kind of interesting to me that, like, I don't know if you have any say in it or what, but the amount of work that you were doing in your weekly shows, they were free? I don't understand that.
You mean the cover?
Yeah. Is that like a decision that you made?
Not. I didn't make the decision, but I'm okay with the decision.
Okay.
Like, that was another big one of the things that kind of kept. When I was feeling the most undervalued and not listened to and pissed off and frustrated and anxious were when changes kept happening, like, well, we're going to charge a cover, we're not going to charge a cover. It's going to start at this time, it's not going to start. Things like that. But are you bringing that up because you feel like people should have charged money?
I feel like there should have been a cover.
Yeah, the thing with a show bar and queer nightlife is there's a certain point where you just have to realize that people aren't going to pay.
Right.
Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. It's very weird. Now, I do feel like the work that I did was worth money. Like, I planned that show, like, it wasn't just what number am I going to do tonight?
It's not just random, it's like it actually takes planning.
Yeah, so I feel like the value of the product, sure, could have charged money. But I never pushed for that because it was more important for me to have people there. And I know as soon as you put the cover charge on, it doesn't matter how good the show is, there will be people who say no just because of that.
But live music, like if you look at that, they charge like $10-15 per show.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bar or whatever. So I feel like what you were doing, you could have definitely done.
You're right. It sucks. It's I think it's a drag specific thing. It's in the umbrella of drag.
Yeah.
Because I feel
pay for that.
Huh?
People might not want to pay for that. They'll rather pay for live.
Yeah, they think drag queens are everywhere all the time. Why am I going to pay to see a drag queen?
Right.
There's RuPaul's Drag Race and there's drag queens at every bar every night of the week, But what I was doing was something different, so I could see why it would be like, I don't know. In the time that I was there helping make decisions, I saw like us add a cover charge and people not come.
For sure. Especially on a weekday, I guess it's hard too, right?
Yeah, but the bar needs to make money, so they're like, where do we make this money? It has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
It was tricky. I feel like trying to just like, okay. There was a time where I was extremely upset and extremely hurt and extremely pissed off with a lot of people. And there was a time where I was yelling at people and just being pissed off and anxious every day and waking up and seeing texts on my phone and starting my day with, oh, great, that changed. Or, oh, great, they didn't tell me about that. Or, things like that. I just had enough of it.
That made you feel undervalued.
Yes. And I couldn't see it until now that what I'm trying to do was meant for this new project that I'm working on. There was all this energy that had to go somewhere, and I did Is it okay that I'm still talking about this?
Yeah.
Okay. So once all that was happening, I had a meeting with them and said, I'm going to step down from the co-show director. Not that I was going to leave the bar, because I didn't even think that at the time. And they were very understanding, and I talked to them more about, how can we help make things better? Just communication and things getting done. I was just like, we need to be going up. More time passed. I had an epiphany one night. I don't know why or how. Well, I'm sure weed had something to do with it. But I had also been watching a lot of intense documentaries about different things, specifically groups of people who are changing how they think about the world. And that started to affect me. And one night I had an epiphany where I stopped being scared of what else there was. Because I felt like I would never leave District West because that's what I have. What else am I going to do? I've worked for 20 years as a drag queen, and now I have my own weekly show I can do whatever I want with, and I have these monthly shows I can do whatever I want. Why would I give that up, right?
Right.
I had this click where I was like, but there's everything else that you've stopped yourself from. And then I started to have these flashbacks of when I had my company Backspace, how we started that from scratch.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what I'm going to do again, right? The universe is telling me. And then at the same time, I had 2 or 3 other people in my life who just so happened to reach out to me and say, hey, I'm sick of this. I want to do something else. What do you got going on? And I'm like, oh, let's do this. When all this happened, I finally got the confidence to tell myself, you are your product and you're going to continue on.
Right.
So you leaving the bar doesn't have to be about you get in a big fight and you scream and you're like, I'm done with you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be, listen, I'm in a place in my life where I can see what I need to do, and what I need to do is be somewhere else.
And our visions are aligning right now, so it's quite better for us to part ways.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was and then the questions were, okay, so does that mean you want to still do occasionally work here or do a big show every once in a while? And for me, it had to be a complete break. It had to be that mental stop of the cycle. Mm-hmm. Not in a bad way, the term cycle, but like I said, for 3 years, I was doing my Tabitha show and doing my other shows and being around the same people, and it's just like this. It's like this. Even when you're in art,
it's the same circle, right?
Yeah, but when you're this kind of artist that I'm remembering and rediscovering about myself, it was like I just had to break out of that loop, mm-hmm. and they're going to continue on just fine, right. And now I'm out here and I'm finding other people's loops to kind of pull into. Am I sounding like a stoned hippie now?
No, it makes sense. I kind of relate to it. I'm like, that's why I kind of quit my job, I'm like, I'm done with this shit. I'm not gonna keep doing this for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
That's why I'd rather to fail or even be not successful for a few years, and then let that grow into something.
Exactly.
And do actually something that I like, not have someone over me at all times telling me what the fuck to do.
Yeah. As artists, it's always cool to remember that that's always in you. And I have a thing where I'm pretty harsh on myself about everything. But lately I'm just trying to remind myself, you're the artist, you've got this in you, you're going to bring it to whatever project you do, you're going to bring it to whatever place you go to. And that has given me the confidence to not sit at home and have FOMO,
Right.
Because they're doing Stadium Virginia right now, which would be the first stadium I hadn't done in 6 years. And it's my favorite of the year. But instead of being like, oh, I'm missing out, I texting people who are there, I don't feel that. I mean, I miss being on stage, but that's not going to stop. No. I'm already making plans to do other things. And I really truly feel like this year in 2024 and this part in history, it's important to go back to online content and social media and creating art for specifically TikTok, which is kind of where all this led to.
I mean, look at Sugar and Spice.
See, I don't follow pop culture. Are those drag queens?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
They
and
were
then
like known for being the TikTok
yeah,
queens.
exactly.
I thought you were
That's
talking
why they
about
got
us for a
cast very
second. I'm
much.
like, are you calling me sugar or spice?
I'm calling you finger licking good.
But that's actually interesting to think about. Like now we're at a point where they're getting on this TV show to do drag, and they're only famous from TikTok, which is cool to be famous from. But that's just like your living room.
Mm-hmm.
Think of how easy that is.
In a hallway.
And all the work that, we do as performers and dancers, and you're going to the theater and you're going to the bar and you're meeting the people. And lately I've just been thinking about how that's possible to pull that into TikTok and social media. Mm-hmm. How to get people engaged, still create cool stuff, but in front of camera.
Yeah. And your online content was something that kept us all entertained during the quarantine.
Oh, yes,
the
quarantine.
thing that we do not speak of.
I miss quarantine. It was my favorite time. I loved it.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm where I'm at because of quarantine, so I'm happy about it.
So before I ask about your future projects, I just have a couple questions that are like random. Or should I ask those after we wrap up your stories?
Whatever you want.
Ask it afterwards.
Okay. So now that you're finished with District West, you're kind of like not rebranding yourself, but kind of like, I guess, finding...
I am rebranding.
Oh, okay. See, I knew what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I feel... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, like, what's next?
A lot. So, yeah, I do feel like I'm rebranding my art in a big way to include Aaron more. Does that make sense? Like I'm rebranding, and I'm trying to break the fourth wall and do content as without all the makeup.
You can say who Aaron is for the audience.
Oh, that's my biological name.
Oh, with 2 A's.
I encourage people to call me Aaron because I think it sounds better than Aaron. You know, from that skit. Yeah.
That black man.
Yeah, Key and Peele from Key and Peele. Anyway. Yeah, future. So, I can't say all the details yet because there's stuff in the works, but basically, I have created a company called Crooked Collective. Crooked with a K, Collective with a C. And what I decided was I wanted to continue the work that I did with my company Backspace, but in a bigger way. So that's why I changed the name. And I want it to be a collective because what I'm doing is I've been contacting people that I've worked with in the past and currently working with to create a network of people who want to make exciting, impactful art that's different, that's shocking in some way, that's satirical, that just comments on life, but it's also heavily based in dance and performance. So I wish I could say, but I can't. But there are 2 really big projects in the next year that are being close to being official. That's why I can't say yes. Okay. That's why I can't say the names.
That's big then.
But basically, what's happening is Crooked Collective is my new thing. It's all about Crooked Collective. And that, to me, is continuing to create cool and crazy and interesting art, but with much more, with a bigger network of people who have different interests. Mm-hmm. Like, we have this project coming up. That's why I was talking to you. I was like, we're looking for people I have people who want to choreograph and plan music videos, Yeah. That's what they want. And they know how to do it. They just don't have the person with this stuff, Right. So it's about creating a network. And more specifically, the TikTok page is about creating TikTok content that basically makes fun of TikTok. And my personal goals. A lot of the stuff that I want to do, it's like poking fun at the content that people make and then infusing dance and music.
Okay. I don't like TikTok. They're mean.
I don't know if I like it either, but it's smart and I do think it's the future.
Oh, it definitely is. It's Chinese.
It's Chinese?
Yeah, isn't it?
Okay.
It's owned by a
It's
Chinese
crazy.
company. Yeah.
So that means that we like it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, well, obviously, just making sure why you said it's Chinese.
Because
I don't know. China's alright.
I found out about it, like doing this, like he brought it up or something, and then like there was like this battle about vapes in China and TikTok in China.
Oh.
And I was like,
I mean, in a way, like the thing is, what media says is like they're trying to ruin American youth, you know. But it doesn't matter. Like we have Instagram. It's the same thing, you know.
So people are saying that they're doing it to ruin America.
Yeah, because like
it's working.
Because in China they have a different TikTok where they're like it's more educational and shit. They have TikTok, but it's like more educational. But in America, it's different. But,
I think that's interesting.
they're swallowing cinnamon by the spoonful.
But in a
Isn't
way,
it crazy?
In a way, like we have Instagram, so it's all the same thing. Like TikTok, Instagram, it doesn't even matter. So if people like something, they're gonna watch it. You know?
Yeah.
So where can people find more information on the Crooked Collective?
The best place is TikTok, and that's Crooked Collective. Crooked with a K, Collective with a C. And we're also on Instagram. Crooked with a K, Collective with a C. I got very lucky when we were making plans for the organization, like what we want to call it. Crooked was always something in the back of my mind with a K. And then I was like looking through all the apps, and nobody had that name already.
No.
And I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I signed up like everywhere.
So you can buy it.
So it's not. So we don't have to be like Crooked Collective 1 or
It's
Crooked
hard.
Collective with a 3.
It's hard to get the fucking name.
It's very, very
Like a
hard.
special character at the
Everything
end.
is taken right now.
And I know, and you know too, because
Yeah.
you're probably doing that too. Because I thought about doing Backspace again, and there are a million companies that use Backspace now. So anyway, yeah, that's that.
Kind of like the
Instagram, TikTok.
the back rooms, the back space.
You mean backroom casting?
Oh!
Is that where they have sex?
Oh
I'm like,
my
That's too
God.
much porn, bro.
Oh my God, no. I don't even know what pornography is.
it's like when people pee on each other in front of a camera.
Oh, I know what pornography is. Okay, well,
Double entendre.
Steve.
give me
Steve.
a drink.
Maybe that should be the name of your show, Double Entendre.
That one I can get behind.
It's good wordplay. You could play off it. I'm just
like
saying.
How now, brown couch.
You know, if you need any direction, I love to just come up with random things. So just text me.
Oh,
she
did
just
you?
needs to get high and have an epiphany.
Exactly, and I write it all down.
Oh, yeah.
The receipts are there, mama.
You know about my drag names list, right?
Oh, you have that.
Well, I mean, I saw some in your shows.
Drag names? Yeah, but for like probably 3 years now, I have a list on my phone. Anytime somebody thinks or sees a funny drag name, like a new idea for drag name, I make a list. It's getting long. I mean, it's pretty good. Yesterday, Eris texted me in the middle of the show, just Venetian blinds. And I said, I'm adding that to the list. I was like, that's perfect.
You're going to have to buy some more cloud storage.
I just did. Okay, continue. I'm ready. Oh, I thought this was like a go.
Oh,
no.
Good.
She's been on.
No, I meant, okay, I'm ready.
Well, congratulations on your new project.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see what you have in store. We all know that it's going to be good because it's Krystal.
Thank you.
Well,
it's Krystal something and Crooked Collective.
okay. From Crooked Collective,
There you
not
go.
collections.
Correct.
Oh my goodness.
It's not collections.
Oh my goodness.
No.
I thought you were going to.
We want you to like us.
So I have a couple random questions because I'm interested to hear your answer, I guess.
Okay. I'm ready.
That's a good way to put it. So, if you could uninvent one thing, what would it be?
That is a bomb-ass question.
I know.
That is a good question. If I could uninvent, I'm going to try not to think too long about it, because that's what I do. There's a lot of things that I hate, so that's a hard one. Uninvent, I'm going to go with roundabouts.
Roundabouts. They're supposed to be efficient.
They're not. They're terrible.
They're a little scary.
How do you feel about the two-lane roundabouts?
Did you see that?
Horrifying.
We have a couple of those.
Is it? Oh, you actually do. So there's this picture that was like circulating on Facebook, and I didn't know if it was real or not, but it was like this ultimate roundabout with roundabouts inside of it.
I've seen that.
Yeah. You did?
Yeah.
I'll say another one that could also be deviled eggs.
Okay.
Those are my top two.
I agree with the deviled eggs.
Eggs are disgusting.
I can't eat fucking cold eggs, bro.
What? They're
Cold
okay.
eggs are fucking
They're okay.
Blech.
Well, I like boiled eggs. But it's one of those things where I can only eat a few before it starts becoming too much.
Yeah, because you shouldn't have any. That's a sign. Like if you have two and it's like starting to get gross, then just have zero.
I know, but then it's just like, it's like, well, like, I haven't had one in such a long time. Let me just, and then I'm done. Just one boiled egg.
Disgusting.
You know, with like a seafood boil.
You can move on. It's gross.
Sorry, I'm just...
I hate it. It's gross. That's why I want to uninvent it.
I can't justify it.
What would you uninvent, bro?
I would have to say, I would uninvent... Oh my god.
That's a good question. We should have thought about it before.
It's like now I can't stop thinking of things that I would uninvent.
I think I would uninvent Crocs.
Oh, fears.
Mm-hmm.
Fear.
Comfortable, but like it makes me uncomfortable seeing people wear them.
You're right.
What is that? What is that phobia like when there's like a bunch of holes in things and like it freaks you out?
I'm sure it has a big long
It's
name.
long, yeah, big and long.
Big and
Yeah,
long.
the name is very long and it's very...
Is that the name of your show? Big and Long?
He's big though, I'm long. What about you? What would you uninvent?
Yeah, that's a hard
What kind of
question.
chaos would you bring in the world?
Fuck, that's a hard question, dude.
I think I would. Can I also add South Park?
No, why South Park?
Sorry. I don't know. I hate it.
I'm not a fan of South Park either. I feel like that show's been on since I was born.
I enjoy it sometimes. I mean, I haven't watched it in years, but I enjoyed it when I watched it, I guess.
I was talking to a guy one time. This was many moons ago. But he was obsessed with South Park. And he was like, he would like ask me about it and like talk about it.
Was he terrible?
He ended up being just awful.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Not to me, but just like in general. I removed myself from the situation.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably nicotine vapes. Or nicotine in general.
Oh.
Yeah, like nicotine. I mean,
Oof, that is a
it's
good...
just like, especially the vapes, they're fucking taking over, you know.
That was
It's kind of
awesome
wild.
chaos.
Did I tell you I quit smoking cigarettes?
No.
Part of this whole changing my life thing. Yeah, I smoked for 20 years.
Hell yeah, dude. That's hard.
You
Hard to
quit.
quit.
You quit smoking and you stopped drinking.
I mean, I'm vaping a little. Well, the drinking was fine because I switched to weed. So
Okay.
that's my vice.
Okay.
The cigarettes, I started Chantix, and after 4 days, I decided to try hypnosis at home, and it worked, I guess. I had a very trippy experience. I also got very, very high, and I stopped taking the pills, and then I just stopped smoking.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations, Shayla.
No, that's hard.
Thank you.
I was hoping, like, I don't know if you guys have heard, but they, like, made the flavored nicotine illegal for a minute, but then they vetoed it. So I was hoping, like, it would last, but my store down the street fucking sells it. So I'm like, fuck. I was really hoping it was illegal, so I wouldn't.
I see.
That would have stopped me. Because I stopped for a month last year, like November, December. And I went back to it at the end of December because I was just so stressed. But yeah.
My friend Emily has one of those nicotine-free ones.
Oh.
She really likes it. I think I might try it.
No,
She's
friends
like
been
your
telling
number
me
one fan.
about that.
Huh?
She's like your number one fan.
Not that Emily.
Oh.
That's another podcast.
My friend's been telling me about the nicotine-free one, but I'm like, I like the nicotine.
I
That's the
know.
reason why I fucking hit it.
I thought the same thing too, but then the other day I thought, well, it's very possible that for me it might be some kind of OCD habit now.
Yeah.
So I just want to try it and see if that's it, then I'll just try it.
So maybe that's what I'll do. Because
Trying something
I'm ready to let it go. It's just, like, I used to smoke a lot of weed. I used to be a big stoner, and then I think that's what I'm missing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, it's,
Mm-hmm.
like, I like hitting it, like, feeling something. And just, like, it doesn't give me the same feeling, but it's still, like, satisfying.
Uh-huh. So there's sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
It's like the act of it.
And, like, last year I started smoking again, like, smoking weed again for a bit to see, like, if I can let this go. But I was smoking weed and this, so I was like,
I know. That's why I always have like 3 or 4 different things because I'm trying. Do I want to do like Delta 8 vape or do I want to do a nicotine
It
vape?
looks like a nurse's office over there.
This shut up. My coffee table at home is worse. There's usually 6 total.
hell yeah.
Not that I smoke all at the same time. Just to have options.
Yeah, variety.
Some people probably think that's weird, but I don't know.
No.
You want different flavors?
You have a cheese plate. You got different kinds of cheese. I'm gonna have different kinds of weed.
I love it. I was actually considering getting a charcuterie board for us today, but then I woke up very late.
Yeah, I can tell because then my stomach is still growling and I don't taste cheese in my mouth.
This boy.
That's okay. I'm on a diet. I lost 15 pounds too.
Really?
A lot has been changing.
You look good.
For the better.
You look good.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I knew that I knew it needed to happen. It's been. I'm sorry, we're talking about other things. Go.
No, you're
Oh,
good.
no.
You're good.
No, just like I kept thinking over the last year. I was like, I'm fat, and everyone's like, no, you're not, because that's what you say to your friends. You're not fat. And I'm like, I am fat, but you're great friends, and I love you. And I've never been the person who understands body positivity. I don't get it, and that's why I did that photo shoot with Hunty, where I did a photo shoot with my shirt off, and I never in a million years would ever want to do that, but it was like a big fear.
Mm-hmm.
I think you posted on your Instagram. It said like I'm fat or something.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna make this a whole thing. That's what I'm doing with my life. I documented the process. I turned it into art, therapeutic. People can consume the art, and it was such a great experience. But we talked about how like I just don't understand body positivity. I see people who have it, who have fat and cellulite, and it's chubbing everywhere, and they're just getting it.
Depression.
Shut up. But I envy that, and I'm not sure if I'll ever have that. But I said I'll at least try it. But but it was also a way to kind of inspire me to then make my body how I want to see it. And I used to be skinny, so I'm just trying new things.
Is that part of you that you said earlier? You're hard on yourself, so like you're more aware of how your body is. You know, like what you want.
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
And it's also I'm very lazy, so it's hard to be lazy and lose weight, which means it's all mental and food control. But luckily lately my brain's been in good shape, so I've just been kind of not eating late at night because I'm nocturnal. So that also just means I don't eat like half the day now.
I would say just eat more protein, less carbs.
But I hate meat.
Okay, whatever it is, just eat like more protein. You know, like carbs will like that's what adds weight. Like when you eat carbs, it's like carbohydrates. So it's like the carbs like suck up any water you have. So you mostly have water weight. You know, so if you were to go on a water diet for like let's say a week, you'd fucking lose a shit ton of weight because your body's losing all that water. You know,
Ugh.
and it's hard to do, but
Yeah.
like a lot of that's like when you eat a lot of carbs, your body retains more water.
I'm judging Miss Union competition in 2 weeks, and my goal is to lose 5 more pounds. We'll see.
You can do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard though. It's like when you first start, changing the way that you eat and stuff, like the weight just falls off, and then like it just hits like, now I have to like start working out.
I know. And Shane is a gym person. Like he's like, I want to go to the gym to lose weight. And I'm like, I would rather do aerobics in the living room. But I went with him to check out a gym, and since I'm trying all these new things in my life, I think I might try to go to the gym. But they have a pool. I want to swim.
Okay.
I like swimming.
That's actually, that's great exercise.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of like older people in the pool, but
that's why I'd rather go there than like upstairs where everybody's doing their
jacks.
The
thing is, when you actually, like in the beginning it will intimidate you, but eventually it'll motivate you, you know.
I know, I gotta break through that.
But I would just say just do it even if you're uncomfortable, because that's just part of the journey, right? Be uncomfortable. That's what you do.
We've already answered this in the last episode.
Okay.
Would you rather want to know how you die or when you die? It's gotta be one or the other.
When?
Why?
Because I'm a scheduler, and I can schedule my entire life. Right. It's the ultimate goal for someone who likes to organize a schedule.
Okay.
Right?
That's what I said to him last week. I was like, it's better to know when you die. It's like, if you know how you die, you're just gonna be stuck in your head. You know, you're not gonna fucking live your life.
Like, what if you find out you're gonna die from like a brain aneurysm?
Right.
Oh.
You're like, what kind of?
And you're like, okay, thanks for that information. What the fuck am I gonna do with that?
We love it.
But you'll still fucking try to avoid it. You're like, you'll be on the internet every day. You're like learning everything about brain aneurysms. You're like, fuck.
Or if you're gonna die from like a car crash,
right?
Then you never want to get in a car.
And then like somehow you're just in a car and boom, it explodes.
No, I was gonna say somehow you're in your living room and a car crashes through your living room.
Did you hear about that story about the car crashing into somebody's house and landing on them in their bed?
Oh,
like
man.
While they were sleeping, and the bottom just melted them.
Wow.
The what? The bottom of the car melted the person? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
This guy is psycho, honestly. He be watching shit like this.
I listen to a lot of true crime. I listen to a lot of things that sound fake, but are real.
That does sound fake.
I look it up. Like these Reddit stories, I'm like, no way. And then like I'll be like, what happened in Illinois when that airplane crashed into the parked car? And then like it's there, like the whole article. I was like, wow. It was a small plane.
That's dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, we answered this question last week. I think we both agreed on how. No, not how. When we die. Yeah.
God, they should make a movie about that.
Do it.
Final Destination. Who? But I think that's it for today's podcast, correct?
Is there anything else you wanted to add? Shout out anybody or anything? Any future things or anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just excited about Crooked Collective. I feel like that's what's on my mind. That's what's driving me, and that's what people are going to start hearing this year.
And the page is already up?
The TikTok page and the Instagram page are up. There's like one video there just to kind of hold the place while we're getting things developed. But yeah, you can certainly follow, subscribe, like, and click the link below.
Crooked with a K, Collective with a C, mama.
Yes.
I'm your host, Smith.
And I'm Zell. And this is Krystal. Something. Oh.
Why did I start to say something like I was supposed to? Do you need to do that again? I'll shut up.
No.
Okay.
That was good. That was perfect.
I was like...
Should I bow? I was about to do like an offensive bow.
Like on the stage right there.
Oh my goodness.
You guys got some performance. We got a performance right there. Hell yeah.
A show.
2024.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.